video, and we sure are ready. I'm the talking atom, and today I'll be talking about my family, that is, other atoms, elements, compounds, and a bit about mixtures as well. So let's dive deep. Well, I'm a bit different because I can talk, and I'm here to tell you about what happens within me and my friends. So, first off, atoms. Now, different elements have different atoms, and each element is made up of its own type of atoms. For example, sodium element has several sodium atoms, whereas the hydrogen element has hydrogen atoms. And when different elements combine with each other, the atoms combine and a compound is formed. Well, this was very brief, and we'll be diving deeper into this now. So elements can be found all around us, and some are monoatomic, which are single, like sodium, and magnesium, potassium, or even the noble gases like neon. Whereas other elements can also be diatomic. For example, N2, H2, O2, or the halogens, which is F2Cl2, Br2, and also xenon, which is Xe2. Now, these are often misunderstood as compounds because they have a 2 in their subscript, but it's not always necessary. And in fact, one atom of this, let's say, chlorine element will consist of two atoms combined to each other. And this is a bonding called covalent bonding, which we'll study about later in the video. So next up is compounds. Now compounds are made up of elements that combine together. Can be two or more elements that are combining with each other. Compounds can also have 3 elements, 4 elements, but they are less stable. And the main reason why compounds are formed is to achieve stability. You must have heard that the element is stable, the element is not stable, or the compound makes the element stable, and etc. etc. This is all that happens in ionic bonding. So ionic bonding is like more of like a share and take of electrons, give and take of electrons. One element will lose its electrons and the other will gain the electrons. And this is the typical compound that forms. For example, sodium and chlorine, when they both combine, sodium donates its electron to chlorine and chlorine gains it. Now this donation and taking of electron happens to have a complete octet. Octet is achieved when there are 8 electrons in the outermost shell, and these 8 electrons, out of these 8 electrons, some electrons are already present and the rest are taken, or there are just a few electrons in the outermost shell, so it is easier to lose them. Well, you will also learn that on the basis of give and take of these electrons, we can say whether a reaction is undergoing oxidation or reduction, which are two forms of reaction. Now, more on this on another video. Now, something different than ionic bonding, with another way of bonding is called covalent bonding. When a compound share covalent bonding, and in fact, you are surrounded by them, aren't? Like water, which is H2O, is made by covalent bonding. Now again, more on these in another video. So now another subgroup is the mixtures. Mixtures have two categories in them: homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Well, we'll go deeper into that for another video, but most like heterogeneous mixtures can be a random sorted of mixtures, whereas homogeneous mixtures are quantitative but still a random mix. Now we should be keen on understanding difference between a mixture and a compound. So a compound has both its elements chemically bonded to each other, meaning that it would be very hard to reverse the reaction and get the products back, get the reactants back as products. Whereas in a mixture, it is not bonded chemically, therefore the properties haven't changed, and you can do several filtration techniques to filter out your reactants. Now let's take an example. You can mix iron fillings in sand, or and you can use their magnetic property to separate iron fillings or the iron nails from the sand. However, when you heat magnesium in open air, it forms magnesium oxide, which is a completely new product. Or even let's take an example of sodium chloride. Sodium, which is a metal, and chlorine, which is deadly toxic to us. When they both come together, they form NaCl, which is table salt or common salt that we eat every day. I mean, just how crazy is that? Another example can be hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen being a flammable gas, and oxygen is quite literally needed for fire to happen. But when they come together, they form water, which we use to dodge the fire. And this is what I mean by changing chemical properties. When two elements or more elements combine chemically, they change their properties as well, which is not seen in mixtures. Now, I mentioned about reactions, reactants, and products, and it is important for chemists to understand whether a reaction is taking place or not. And there are several signs and hints that tell us whether a reaction is happening or it has stopped. These hints can be A, heat is taken in or given out, which is the reaction can be exothermic or endothermic, or B, a new product is formed and there is a depletion in the amount of reactants, or C, you can it is like hard to reverse the reaction back, or in some cases the reaction is not reversible. And this is mostly up for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this short video, and I'll surely put links to the videos that I have mentioned in this particular video, and hope on learning more with you all. Till then, see you all, have great time learning. Bye bye.